Rugged, lightweight, comfortable, handcrafted rock and leather boots. Made to work all day and be out all night. Check them out at rockandleather.com. Winter Productions, content creation company that is here to tell your story, whether it's about the love of your life or capturing the chance of a lifetime. We are here to tell your story. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Life Between the Volleys. And I've got an audio issue right off the rip. I feel like I got a little echo, maybe a little echo. Maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out in post. But I'm back. I'm excited to be back. Awesome guest tonight. We'll be giving him a phone call in a second. And just want to thank you to everyone so far that's listened, downloaded all the episodes. We're going to keep trying to get guests like this, guests from different industries, different parts of hunting, outdoor, all kinds of different things. I got a lot of people on the list that I'm trying to get, but I'm trying to do it slow because as much as I want to just podcast, can't do that. Doesn't work that way. So something cool we do have going on tonight is I am working on some stuff behind the scenes, getting into doing some few things, and we have another camera angle tonight. The bourbon angle. And if you look where it's right there on the right hand side of the screen, you know what you see? A little Dirty Duck coffee. Guess what? We're talking with Dirty Duck tonight, and I am excited. Buck Heath. We're going to be giving him a call in just a second, and it should be fun because I want to learn a lot about this company and just see where it goes from there. I mean, we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but let's get ready. I told him 7:45-ish. We got a minute or two here, so I do want to talk about right there on the screen right now, Rixie Outdoors. I threw their logo up. Me and Todd have a great relationship. He is a good friend of mine, and I just want to represent his company on this and let people know about him. It's an American-made product that I really trust in and I believe in, and that's why it's on here, and it'll continue to be on here. We're actually working on some other stuff. They may get a commercial in the intro. We'll see. We'll see if we can get one approved that way. We got a few things in the works, but yeah. So let me flip over here, and we got about another minute, but I'm gonna go ahead and I gotta figure out how to do this. Oh, here we go. Nope, I think I just messed that up. Man, technology is not my friend. Let's get rid of both of these because I feel like I'm gonna send a link. There we go. Okay. I think we have this. So then we go here. And then we go here to a little double screen. We're going to see if he hops on here. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I'd like to figure out if I can do this. Nope, can't do that. How's it going, man? Can you hear me okay? Oh, can you not hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Oh, I love technology. Is it this? Can you hear me now?
I can't hear any.
All right, give me 1 minute. I hate technology. Microphone. Can you hear me now?
There you are.
All right, there we go. Okay, had to switch setting. It changes the setting every time in OBS. It's the worst system in the world.
Yeah. I was hoping I wasn't hooked up to a Bluetooth speaker or something like that.
No, it's definitely on my end. I fight with it like all the time, and I don't know why. It's just something I have to deal with. It's this software. It's supposed to be the greatest thing ever. It's probably the worst streaming service ever. I don't know why someone hasn't thought of something better. But I just want to say thank you first off coming on here and doing this podcast
Sure.
tonight, and I'm super excited. I love your hat. I actually want one of those hats as soon as they go on the website.
They should be on there pretty soon. So
That's awesome.
they're new at the NRA. They showed up the Friday of the show, and we busted out the box and put them on the table. So
Hey, that's pretty awesome. That was a big show for you guys. I think you guys made the post that you guys were the only coffee company there, which that was a big deal. I feel like.
yeah, I think we're the only ones there that strictly did coffee. Somebody said there was one or two more there, but I think not a branded coffee company like kind of like what we're trying to do. There's a lot of other big names in the coffee world that thought should have been there, could have
Uh,
been there, but we were
I
there. So
Yeah, that's all that matters. I agree with you.
yep.
Let's kind of start jumping in over into it. I was gonna have you kind of do a little back history on Dirty Duck.
Okay.
And kind of give us, because like you can go on the website and read, and like I'm on a script the year, so I'm not even gonna give the year that Dirty Duck like started and stuff. But like I don't think I've ever. I love the company, but I don't think I ever really know when it started and all that.
Sure, absolutely. It sort of started by accident, I guess you'd say. I bought a personal duck lodge in Mound City, Missouri, where I duck hunt, and one of my buddies, named it the Dirty Duck as a joke, and the name kind of stuck, and I kind of ran with it. Started kind of branding the place just purely as for fun. Um, but I live upstairs. It's an old two-story brick building in the small farm town where I hunt. And then downstairs is kind of like the hangout party area. We'll have bands in there a couple times a year. Um, we just flip on the lights and people from town start showing up, and that's how the Dirty Duck was born. And then in 2019, right before all the lockdowns and all that, I'd made some hats again for fun for friends and family. Thanks for coming hunting with me, and people wanted to start buying them. So just goofing around, made a website and made a couple different styles, and I was just having fun with it. And when the lockdowns hit, I had too much time on my hands, and the hats and apparel and that kind of stuff was starting to take off a little bit. And I just had an idea. Hey, we need to do coffee. Every waterfowler, duck hunter, goose hunter drinks coffee cold and early in the morning. Most of the time we stayed up too late the night before, and it seemed like a perfect fit, for the niche we were trying to hit. So it was a pretty cool deal, and it allowed me to be creative during the time when a lot of things were shut down. So
Yeah,
it was kind of a savior.
I mean, there was a lot of things that changed. I mean, that was a time that changed a lot of people's lives. I mean, it was make or break time in the country, and I think that was the time that I mean, I went like I lost a company during that, but I mean, it's nothing that like I look back on now and regret. But I think that's awesome. That's when doing this podcast, it seems like everyone that year is going to be a big part of everyone's lives going forward. I mean, it wasn't like some people started maybe right before then with a company or something, but it made them during that time of the year. But why coffee? I have to like I understand like everyone does that, but like who thinks you can just go start it like I didn't start drinking coffee till I got out of college. I didn't even know coffee was like I'm like I'll never drink coffee. Got my first
Sure.
engineering job and I was like you drink coffee. That's just what you do as an adult, I guess, with a real job. You show up and you drink coffee. And I don't know how I live without it for all the years that I did. But I don't even know like I have no idea how coffee's made or how you even go about starting that process.
Yeah, I started drinking coffee when I was in college and started duck hunting a lot. And I didn't know what I was doing. I just pour a bunch of grounds in there and make the strongest, darkest coffee I could find. And um, you know, I used to tell myself, I bet you John Wayne drink his coffee black, so I'm going to be a man and drink it black like John Wayne probably would have. And so I've always been a black coffee drinker. Um, don't mind putting some other stuff in it, but typically I'm just drinking it black. Um, and so that's kind of when, you know, a lot of the stuff that goes into, you know, design development and the character that you see on our bags or shirts or, you know, part of the company have a lot to do with, you know, your personal memories and things that all went on, you know, 10 or 15 years before we started Dirty Duck. So some of those you know, some of those memories and certain traditions I try to put into some of the products we develop.
Yeah, I mean, I completely see that. I mean, it definitely to me seems like it's like my wife like never drank coffee in her life. She's
Hmm.
never had coffee in her life, and now we drink coffee every single morning, and it's cold. We cold brew every morning. She does all year long, all through the winter. She drinks cold brew, and we do cold brew Dirty Duck. It's
Yep.
just like what we've become a fan of, but it's not necessarily always the cold brew either. That's the thing. We do a couple. We do a couple different ones. We do cinnamon teal, Missouri boat rod, and we do then the cold brew itself.
Hmm.
But like I just to think that was like I mean there's so much I mean I know there's so much more than just like oh I'm gonna contact this person that owns a bean and they're gonna give me this coffee. There's so much into like the roasting, the changing of the flavors and stuff. And I've heard you kind of talk about how y'all go about developing the different ones on other podcasts. Can you break that down real quick, like how each coffee's kind of made, like how you kind of get your cinnamon teal, how it's like kind of developed to have that flavor and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to start with what I thought were kind of some real basic flavors, and we came out in summer of 2020 with we had the French roast, the high velocity, the extra caffeine. That was kind of a bonus one I threw in there. Um, we had the Colombian and we had the dark, and I kind of felt like where I started in the coffee journey, like you know, you kind of had your light, the dark, kind of a bold flavor, um, and then also the one with the high caffeine. So that's where we started, you know, started the journey with the flavors, and then we started adding from there. When we would either come across something we liked, or we'd have a suggestion from a customer, hey, I drink this all the time, I buy it over here. We'd look into you know, certain bags of coffee that somebody told me they really like. Hey, you need to try this, and we'd kind of, you know, design things on what we thought taste really well. So I went out and found a really good small batch roaster and kind of put it into their hands and worked with them to develop all the products. I didn't want to be the one trying to roast coffee in my basement or whatever, doing it myself. So I wanted to find somebody that was really good.
Oh gosh. That was my fault. That was on me. I was trying to fix something and it just got mad and did it its own thing all of a sudden.
No
Okay.
problem. Is the audio all right?
The audio is great. That was the thing. The
Okay,
audio was great. Like I was working on OBS for a second and it just, I need to quit touching it. It makes me
cool.
mad. It's just, I've,
Yeah, it's really nice out. I'm down in San Antonio and it's hotter than heck this week, but the evenings this time of night get pretty comfortable. So I said I'm
San
gonna go sit
Antonio.
outside if it's not too windy.
San Antonio. Yeah, I've never been there. Never been there. But let's wrap this up. We're going to go into a lot of stuff about your life and stuff.
Sure.
You were talking the oil, like the oils and stuff. You're getting to that about the flavors and stuff. You wanted to start with the basic flavors that everyone has.
Yep. Yep. Started with what I thought were the basic flavors, and it's crazy how when you get into it, there's beans from every country you can imagine. And different bean origins make better roasts, depending on what you're trying to do with it, whether cold brew it, um, drip, French press, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, the two flavored coffees we have is the Missouri Boat Ride, which is a pecan, praline, coconut, and then we also have the cinnamon teal, which is like a snickerdoodle cookie flavor. And they're actually both the same bean as the base in that, but we add flavored oils to give it the flavor. So it's a lot of people are afraid that it's going to be like extra sugar or sweeteners added to it, but it's just flavored oils that just soak up in the beans, and then you can taste it, smell it when you grind it out and brew it.
Yeah, yeah, that is definitely like, oh, every time I make a pot, like I'm always like running around the house, like if someone's here, I'm like, here, smell this. You have to smell this. And they're like, oh, they can smell the pecan and stuff in it, and it's
Yeah,
I'm if we hadn't been bought out by like someone else at my job, I'd totally be pitching for us to have Dirty Duck K cups at work. But we're now owned by a company in Wisconsin, and I don't know. I'm surprised they still let us have coffee technically without us having to buy
sure.
our own coffee. Uh, but no, I've taken the Missouri boat ride to work, and I've actually had our GM, like he has a coffee pot in his office, and I was like, hey, you need to make some of this one day. And I was like, when you make some, let me know because I'm gonna run
Mm.
up and I want some. But yeah, he was like he couldn't believe it. Like his office smelled like it and everything. That
Yeah, the Missouri Boat Ride is great iced. Also, you mentioned, and I've done it cold brew, but typically if I'm making a hot pot of coffee in the morning, it's Missouri Boat Ride. In the afternoon when that's still sitting in there, I'll dump it over ice in a glass, and it's pretty dang good,
yeah.
especially on a
So
hot day.
that's kind of what we've learned. Like with the cold brew, we'll brew it. We'll do cold brew style. But like
Hmm.
with the other two, the cinnamon till and Missouri Bear Ride, and I got morning wood here. We'll do morning wood also. I think there's hot
Yep.
velocity somewhere in my house. I don't know. Uh, we'll do those hot, and then we'll just let them cool and just pour them in a pitcher, and then we'll pour them over ice like the next morning or something. The next couple mornings.
Yeah,
Um,
the Saturday going into Sunday, I think it was at the National Wild Turkey Federation show this year. We were, crazy busy. We sold out of every bag of cold brew we had. So that night, we make it the night before for the next day. I was like, well, let's let this ride, and it did really well. We sold as much Missouri Boat Ride as we did cold brew for people that were tasting it cold. So
yeah, I was gonna say that's what it was the last day because like the first day there, like that was y'all's booth was the first booth I went to. I don't even think my wife was up yet. I went downstairs the first morning we were there, which was the second morning. We showed up the night of the first night, and by the time we walked over to that area and got there, like it's pretty much over. It was technically closed. We were trying to catch a couple people in booths, but they
yeah,
were like everybody was pretty well gone. We talked to some of the banded guys because I was buying some duck calls from those guys. So that's kind of why I was mainly coming there was that night. But no, first thing the next morning.
that's a great show, a busy show. We work it all day long, and then I've still never seen downtown Nashville. Like
It's
after the
not.
show's
It's not
over,
important.
like give me a hamburger and a beer. I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
So I know there's all kinds of after parties and that goes on during that thing, and had tickets given to me, and I've still never been out to one. So I'm gonna try to figure out how we run shifts next year or something to be able to enjoy a little bit of nightlife.
I, so yeah, the first day I go downstairs and like my wife's still upstairs. She's still getting ready because we stayed at the Gaylord because
Okay.
it was actually cheaper. I'm gonna give away a secret. If you book in like August or September this year, like the rooms will be like $200 a night for
Oh,
like
that's not bad.
no, I mean like all the hotels around there. Like I was talking to people, they were paying like 190 for a hotel and have to get an Uber and deal with all that. And I could just walk upstairs to my room anytime I wanted to and go rest for a little while, then come back downstairs. Um, but we looked at the one. I come down and like I come up to y'all's booth, it's packed, and I'm like trying to like nudge people. Like I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I'm like, hey, scoot over because they're like taste testing. I'm like, scoot over. I gotta spend money. And I think I bought, I don't even know how many bags I bought. Like, I think Jay was the one that, like, when I first started bringing, like, telling him what bags I wanted, he was like, okay, okay. And then I was also, I was like, hey, I'll take 2 of the mugs also, because for anyone that doesn't know, I just told this at dinner too, because we were having dinner with some friends that are moving to Alabama and we're trying to get them to come to NWTF next year. You got to buy the copper mug. The free refills all weekend long at any show, technically, right? It's any show
Hmm.
you bring that back to is well worth the mug.
Yeah, we started that for the vendors that are there all, working all the same hours we are, and everybody needs their coffee. But we've kind of extended it to everybody, But it definitely is a for any vendor that's within, a couple hundred yards of us, they get their money's worth for sure.
Oh yeah, like I remember walking around a booth. It was actually the Bluebird waterfowl booth, and one of their guys was like, "Hey, he seen my cup. He's like, hey, is Dirty Duck here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they're." And I told him where you were. He grabbed his mug and like left their booth to go get coffee. He was like, "I was
Hmm.
wondering where they were." Um, but yeah, like that. I was actually. So you guys also had Heartland at your booth too this year at NWTF.
Yeah, sure did. I've been buddies with Ronnie Phillips for years and years and years before Heartland was created. So it's
That's pretty
kind
cool.
of cool to see him take off. He told me he was starting a duck hunting show, and I told him he was crazy. And 3 or 4 years after he started it, he was just killing it. They do a great job with all their videography. So,
Oh yeah, Dakota and them are just nasty with a
yep.
camera. Like it, like I talked to Dakota and them. I actually stepped in y'all's booth. That way we'd be out
Hmm.
of the way and talk to them while we were down there. Because like I'm like I had Ronnie on the podcast back before we kind of rebranded and kind of changed up a bunch of stuff and went to video and all this stuff. I like messaged him one night and I was like, I'll just shoot him a shot. What's the chance of him like responding? He responded
Hmm.
within like 4 minutes and was like, "Yeah, let's do it tonight." And I'm like, I am not prepared for this podcast. Like, because I mean, like, it blew me away because like I kind of analyzed that they don't Ronnie and them don't like that word, but like they kind of are up on a pedestal if you think about it to certain waterfowlers because they are top tier outdoor channel host. I mean, it's kind of crazy, kind of when you like after you sit down and talk to them, like how they don't act anything like that. They're the most laid back guys ever.
Oh yeah, yeah. The whole crew. Like I've been on trips with them up to Canada, and a couple they do that crane hunt in West Texas. Been a couple different places with them, and their whole crew's solid. They're just laid back, easygoing, fun guys. They're good hunters too. They
And
do their
they're
homework and they know how to set up. And watching it from the beginning, they were like anybody would. You're trying to learn. Hey, how do we film this? Um, how do we set up? What kind of gear do we use to try to get this? And it went from being kind of a struggle, the learning curve, to the last time I went on a hunt with them, like you don't even know there's a TV show going on. Like
no,
you're just out there hunting, and they're like, "Yep, we got it. It's good." I'm
yeah.
like, it's just effortless. Those guys are so good at what they do.
Yeah, I mean, it just becomes kind of a repetitive process, really. I mean, because once you figure out what works, you're just going to keep doing that. I mean, that's what
Yep.
you have to do every time. Um, but
Yeah. A funny story. I don't know if you've heard it, but I took Ronnie on his first duck hunt ever.
oh, I don't know this one, but I got to hear this one. Okay, this should be good. He's
Yeah,
told a
yeah,
story about his
pretty
first
good
duck
ones.
hunt, but he
So
didn't tell me it was you.
we were going pheasant hunting with my family. That's how I started in the hunting world. Was my dad and grandpa and uncles and cousins and brother and everybody we'd always go out to central Kansas for pheasant opener. Normally it's a second Saturday in November, and we invited Ronnie one year, and one of our other buddies came with us too. And there was a blizzard blowing, so we hunted 2 days. I think Saturday the opener, Sunday had good days, and then we typically stay Monday, but I think we decided to cut out of there because there's this big blizzard supposed to blow in. And so I was driving as fast as I could without putting us in the ditch. And Ronnie was like, "What are you doing? Slow down." I'm like, "I'm fine. We got to get back. We got to get back to Mound City." And so it kind of, Well, we got back and I was like, come on, we're going duck hunting. He's like, oh, I got to work tomorrow and I think I'll just head home. And I said, I don't care what you got to do tomorrow. You're going with me right now. I was pretty stern. And we went out, and it was one of those deals where it was still sleeting and blowing snow when we got out there. And we, three of us, got a pretty quick, limit, 6 birds apiece. And then we just sat there and watched birds for probably 45 minutes to an hour just come in and land. And then it blew through, and the skies were like these perfect orange sunsets with ducks flying every which direction, teal dive bombing everywhere as we were like riding the four wheeler back into the pickup trucks and stuff. It was just one of those days that you don't forget. And instantly he was hooked. It was like it kind of spoiled him right off the bat. Kind of had to go on some crappy waterfowl hunts like you used to when you're growing up to
To
pay your
really,
dues.
yeah, I really appreciate it. I mean, I think that's something about waterfowl hunting that's really interesting. Is to me, I came into it because of the camaraderie, the cutting up, the chatting. It's not like I come from like deer hunting with my dad and turkey hunting where it was real strict. Like, hey, you don't make a peep. You stay quiet as you can, so nothing shows up. And then you got duck hunters who, I mean, they're kind of loud. I mean, they're kind of
Oh
carrying a
yeah.
pretty loud conversation. And I mean, it's just I filmed my first ever waterfowl hunt. It was a goose hunt. I show up to film. I'm like, I don't even. Do we even have geese in our state? I'm like showing up. I'm like, and they're putting out all these decoys. They got a trailer, and I'm like, these guys are dumb. I was like, I've never seen a goose. I mean, like, I drive by them all the time. I just don't pay attention to them. Been there. I was like, I'm pretty sure. And they kind of sat around and bullshitted and talked. Well, I thought that's what duck hunting and goose hunting was. I didn't realize it was actually like they had put in all this other work and stuff and this effort to know they were going to be there, to know what all was going to happen. So the first duck hunt I went on without someone telling me what to do, I thought we could sit in lawn chairs in blue jeans and shoot ducks. They will not. But the thing about it was we seen all kinds of bird that day. It was a great. It was probably one of the better years guys have said around here was that year. We didn't shoot a duck because they knew they seen us instantly. I mean, you're sitting in a
Mhm.
purple lawn chair in a boat without a blind on it. It's pretty noticeable pretty quick. But it was just one of the things where like when we finally got into it and appreciated like the work and everything you put into it, it really makes it worth it with when you get to do it with people like that and you get to enjoy the times and like get to see those moments out there like that.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. You met Jay there at the Jay Peterson. He's the other founder of Dirty Duck. We're high school buddies, and he took me on my first duck hunt. And that's kind of the running joke anytime we're like going to these shows or setting up and doing, all this work or kind of doing what you'd say is more the unfun stuff. We're always like, hey man, we should go duck hunting. It'll be fun. We got this kind of inside joke like, oh yeah, it's fun. You love it. And so I'm like, man, how'd you get me into this? But obviously I love every second of it.
I mean, for me, which we'll get into what else you hunt in a second. For me, it's kind of taken over everything. Like I don't own a bow no more. I don't really I deer hunt to shoot a doe or two to get to meat.
Hmm.
Outside of that, I'll turkey hunt because it's in the spring. There's not much else to do, but like it's definitely taken over as like it's what I want to do and it's what I enjoy doing.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
So
Um,
so do you hunt much anything else anymore? I mean, a lot of guys still hunt turkeys, but I know for you guys it's show time of the year. So you're every weekend or probably every other weekend at a different show somewhere.
Yeah, it's been a handful of years since I've been out turkey hunting, and it just seems like the time of the year gets busy, and then it's over and gone. And but yeah, and just hasn't worked out for me. But yeah, I'm not much of a deer hunter. I didn't really grow up deer hunting in Missouri, even though there's monsters there. But Texas has kind of spoiled me because you got blinds and feeders and exotics running around everywhere. you're you're sitting in there drinking beer maybe and waiting on the feeder to go off in 30 minutes. So it's uh it's the easy way to do it. I wouldn't say it's the you know the real traditional way. But definitely, if you don't have a lot of time, it's makes it easy to get meat.
Yeah, I'm definitely jealous of the amount of hogs that you guys have. Like that's the thing that like I know they're a nuisance and everyone hates them, but man, I would love like I looked at getting on a lease in Arkansas just like it was a deer lease and I was like, "Do y'all have pigs?" And like, "Yeah, we got some, but they're kind of smart. Everybody shot at them so much they only come out at night and you got to kind of shoot them with thermals." I'm like, "Crap, I don't want to spend a lease just so I can go to Arkansas to shoot hogs with thermals and cost myself even more money." But
Right.
I've done it. I've done it a handful of times, and like I like truly. I mean, like I said, like shooting deer. Like I live in rural West Virginia. It's I can walk on my back porch right now and probably see 20 deer. It's not that hard to shoot a
Hmm.
couple of those to eat. I don't hunt for bucks no more because it's kind of useless. We're in a very liberal kind of state when it comes to your limits. So I think they can shoot up to like $3 in our state. So it doesn't take long for them not really to be a monster like what you would have in Missouri. So you not hunting in
Yep.
Missouri makes way less sense than me not hunting here. I mean, our big bucks are on the coal lands and kind of hard to get on there. You got to have a pretty expensive lease anymore.
Yeah, down here in Texas, I'm pretty much surrounded by axis deer, which are pretty much now native. They were brought over from India or China back in the day, and we're on some of these big game ranches. And then, of course, they start getting loose, and there's herds of them. But they taste so good that once you have one of those, it's hard to pull the trigger on a whitetail.
Ah,
They're that good.
now, is there a season on those, or are those just like kind of those are just like new? They're
No,
like
yeah, they're an exotic, so no season. You can spotlight them at night. So
see,
Texas is kind of cool.
Texas gets to do all the redneck stuff that West Virginia
Yeah,
guys do
yeah,
anyways. Like, I mean, we like the people up here, man. They're like, like there's some I've heard of now some new spotlighters that are pretty professional at it. Which I mean, technology has really helped them with thermal scopes and stuff. Like, I've heard stories of like they're like, yeah, did you see so and so's buck? I'm like, no, he didn't post it online. Like, yeah, he didn't post it online. He shot it in a graveyard at about midnight. And I'm like, damn. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of oh man, I've hunted hogs at night with spotlights. That's fun out of a truck.
yeah,
I don't know if that was legal. It's been over 6 years, but yeah,
yeah.
it was.
Statute of limitations is
Yeah,
up by now, so I
yeah.
think you're
I'm
good.
not. I'm not gonna say what state it was, but it was a southern state, of course. But
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I had 4 or 5 buddies that worked on a huge ranch down here that's like 5,000 acres, and they actually had times of the year where they had to go out and cull axis does, and we would go out at we'd say, all right, let's meet at 10 or 10:30, and we'd go out and shoot, out of the pickup truck with a spotlight, maybe a case of beer, you know. We'd be out till 2 or 3 in the morning by the time we loaded up the truck, and then we'd gut them and hang them in the walk-in freezer, and then we'd all go to bed. We were so stinking tired. So it's I kind of got spoiled back in the day.
Yeah, me and my buddy keep joking we want to live in Arkansas, but man, I wouldn't mind Texas either. Texas would be fun. I love West Virginia, but man, I'd definitely take maybe Texas or Arkansas over it a couple
Yeah,
days of the week.
Arkansas is beautiful.
Um, yeah, I've got a buddy of me. We've discussed buying a camp down there. We just haven't really pulled the trigger on it yet. Just kind of waiting on a few things to happen up here to make that decision. I mean, they sell them all the time down there, which is crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was wanting to get back to a little coffee talk real quick. Um, so you're now starting to brand with a few people. Ronnie been one.
Hmm.
He has his own blend, and but the other guy does is Pit Boss.
Yep.
And did you get to go hunt with Pit Boss up there? I think y'all did, didn't you? Or someone go from Dirty
Yeah.
Duck up there and hunt with him?
Yeah, we actually, I say this year and last year, but it was actually January and November, 2 different seasons in the same calendar year, and so I've been out with him twice.
Dude, how massive is that boat of his? Like I've met the guy who made his boat.
Yep.
And that thing is insane. Like I've been on the smaller versions of it, man. Those things are insane. They're like tanks, like
Oh
military
yeah.
grade quality tanks. It is insane.
Yeah, there was 5 or 6 of us in it, and plus him, plus all the decoys. I mean, plenty of room. It's awesome. It's all aluminum. Um, you're only going a couple miles out. It's not like we're going way offshore. You're just kind of going up the coast from where he launches, and it's like the smoothest riding boat ever.
So
So,
what's it like hunting with him? Because I mean, he like if you follow his social media, he is like hilarious on it, and he's
hmm
fun to watch, fun to talk, and he's all time like giving his guys, getting on them, giving them crap, picking on them while they're out hunting and stuff. I mean,
yep.
I've heard sea ducks are some of the hardest ducks to shoot because of how fast they fly and they fly low and they just come in quick and they're just flat. Um, what was that
Yeah,
like the first time?
absolutely. Being able that I went, multiple days and multiple seasons, I kind of got to see rough water trying to shoot them to real calm water. And I'll tell you what, when it's rough and you got some big swells, like, you're coming up on this duck, and next thing you know, the boat's, tipping the other direction, and it's always funny, like if there's a cripple you're trying to finish off, and you'll take aim and pull the trigger. Well, right then, like a huge wave comes up, and you shoot the wave like 20 feet in front of the duck. So it's kind of an area where you can have the wind blowing one direction, the current going the other direction, and I'd sure hate to fall in. But
Yeah, that would that
yeah, he's great to hunt with. He knows what he's doing, and the birds fly every day. So January it was pretty cold, but then when I went in November, it was pretty mild, and it's I don't think you have to on those sea ducks. I don't think you have to wait for your cold fronts and you're trying to time your migration. I think they just start moving down the coast, and once the wind picks up mid morning or whatever, they start flying for most of the day.
yeah
Is
that
from what I've seen.
yeah it's like I've told people like I was like I don't think I ever want to do it, but it's actually a hunt. The more I think about it, it's a hunt I want to go do. I think, and like when I do, we'll probably go see Pit Boss. I know some people up that way and stuff, but his coffee's the one coffee I haven't got to try yet. His and Ronnie's, both.
Yep.
Ronnie's on me about ordering his. I'm going to on my next order. I'm getting a bag of his.
Sure, we're gonna add the Pit Boss coffee to the website. Also, we kind of released it with him, and we're exclusive to Molly's to kind of roll it out, and we're gonna start adding it to the website so that way, you can get it there also. But it's an espresso roast, and it's
Ooh,
one that he actually picked.
okay.
So yeah, you can use it as an espresso. You can brew it just as a pot of coffee. That's what I normally do, but it's darker than our dark roast. I love it. I think it's awesome.
I've never. I have an espresso machine. A guy bought it as a joke at work at like Goodwill and gave it to me. No, I tried to use it once. Don't have any idea how
Yep.
to use it. Uh, like it's big fancy. It now sits in my cabinet. I probably need to give it away to somebody, but it's definitely a coffee I'm gonna have to try then. I'm
hmm
interested in that one. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah, we just need to get that. It's been on the to-do list. Just get it photoed and uploaded and stocked up and ready to turn loose.
well, I mean, like we went over, so we've slightly discussed. You guys were at NWTF. Um,
hmm
then you were in NRA show. Are you going to Delta?
Yes.
Are you going to DU?
The DU is August 2025. So they put it off for this year. The Ducks, the DUX show.
Oh, they canceled it for this year.
Yeah, it was in Fort Worth for 3 years,
Yeah, and I knew
and
they moved it
then
to
I don't think
Memphis.
they renewed their contract at the Texas Motor Speedway, and so it's going to be in Memphis. It's like April 1st through the 3rd, or August 1st through the 3rd,
Oh,
2025.
okay, okay. I thought it was this
So,
year.
yep. One we did after NWTF was the Pheasant Fest.
Oh, okay,
Pheasants
yeah,
Forever puts on,
yeah.
and that was in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and it was excellent. It's going to be in Kansas City next year, so
That
that's
pheasant,
our yep.
yeah, pheasant's something I've never like. We have a honestly like 3 miles from my house, I got a setter place that does like the handsets and stuff, which is what a lot of people hunt anymore. Because unless you're out in that Midwest area, you really don't have anywhere to hunt because they're pretty much extinct everywhere. But like, I think I would love to do like a real walking pheasant hunt. I think that would be like going to the South Dakota, North Dakota, and walking
Yeah.
pastures and stuff.
Yeah, like I said, we started in Kansas growing up, and there's just not any birds left out there with farming techniques. And I think ethanol got so popular that they quit planting milo, and uh, plus the equipment and the pesticides and all that had just gotten too efficient that there's not a lot of places for those birds to hide, those young birds. So we've been going up to South Dakota the last couple of years, and it's unbelievable. So they kind of farm for it. They supplement birds. Um, there's times where you're like, these birds were pretty stupid, but then in the same field you got birds that are wild as hell. So it's a mix of, you don't feel like you're shooting pin raised birds, like they just put them out right before you walked out there. These birds are turned loose, and they're being hunted by every predator, up there, so they get pretty wily pretty quick.
Okay, that'd be very cool. Like I've had some guys talk about going down here and hunting at this place, and I know some guys that have, and I think the guy runs a pretty good operation. Actually, I wanted to get with him and get a couple wings or a couple birds and get them clipped for my pup. I actually have him raising um, my new lab pup, but I didn't get with him. I need to hit him up just see if he has any frozen or something. I need to see if I have someone frozen ducks. I stupidly didn't freeze any this year. Um, but I I seen like you talked about the pin raise thing with them. I mean, the big topic is the pin raise with the ducks. Um, I had a buddy who shoots clay, the sporting clays competitions. He was at like the Worlds that's held at like M&M.
Hmm.
I'm gonna mess up that place's name, but man, he was sending me videos of just all the mallards they have there that are pin raised and all this stuff. And then they had Duck DNA do all the stuff about if there was if the eastern mallard even exists anymore, or if it's now just this farm duck that's kind of loose running rampant out here. I found that study kind of interesting. I don't know if y'all really deal much with the farm raised ducks. They're not, or if y'all get pretty much y'all. I think y'all strictly get like a true mallard out there.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty much. Um, Early in the year when the weather's kind of warm, we'll get a mixed bag typically. Um, and then once we start getting cold weather, it's basically we're shooting our four mallards. That's a limit. So we kind of go from, aiming for that six bird mixed bag to, once the mallards are here, that's,
yeah,
shoot your four greenheads. And if you get a bonus duck, then it's an extra. But yeah, we get a ton of mallards.
yeah. I mean, yeah. That Missouri and Kansas are two places on my list to go hunt eventually. Which Kansas now going to be a little harder with their new regulations, but we'll figure something out how to make that work. Um, Wyoming. Have you ever got to hunt like the Midwest states? The like, not the West states like Wyoming, Colorado and stuff yet with Ronnie and them or anyone.
Never have.
Man,
Never have.
you all need to look into
Um,
Wyoming, the Platte
yeah,
River. I know some waypoints, but I can't share them because of I share an Onyx.
sure.
I share an Onyx with my brother-in-law, and he goes out there with some of his buddies. And if they hear this, Austin, I swear I've never shared your waypoints. I do look at them though, but
Yeah.
like I mean, there's some hiking, but man, those guys can flat kill some ducks if you get with some of the local guys out there. They know how to fly. And I think they were shooting like 7, 8 man limit of mallards last year or 2 years ago
Hmm.
when they were out there for 3 days straight. Like I was just, God, that's just insane. Um,
Yeah, that'd be fun.
and especially on
Uh,
small water too. That's something that I don't get to hunt small water. We hunt mainly a big river here. We hunt the Ohio or the Canal, which are both, I mean, probably two of your next biggest rivers outside of the Mississippi.
hmm.
Um, but where all did you get to go hunt last year? I know you said you hunted with Pit Boss twice. Do you guys do y'all travel much for hunting? Because I mean, still I mean, you got to sell coffee at that time. I don't know. Well, you get to traveling, you get to do really then.
Yeah, so typically I'm spending most of November and December at the Dirty Duck in Missouri. trying to chase ducks up there. The past 3 or 4 years been real mild, and probably this past season was one of the worst ones I've ever seen. It just, people are like, where are the ducks at? I'm like, well, they're still probably in Canada because it's 60 degrees up there. Our season typically runs from in the north part of Missouri runs Halloween to Christmas usually, and 2 days after Christmas is when the big polar vortex hit and pushed ducks down to everybody that were still had seasons open. But so Missouri last year was a flop for me, but I enjoy being up there at my place and friends up there and family and all that good stuff. But almost every trip I went on was, I think it was like shooting limits every time. So that kind of made up for it. But yeah, started the season with Jeff out there shooting sea ducks, and then how we went to Straight Lake in Arkansas about,
Oh,
I don't know, 10 days after that.
oh, I'm jealous now. I'm
It's
like
no
that.
good. Don't go. It's no good.
I can't afford to go. I can't afford to go there. Like
Yeah,
I go to Arkansas. My Arkansas experience is a lot different than yours. Mine involves like broken boats usually and stuff like that along that line.
sure. Yeah, it was we it's like we won the Willy Wonka's golden ticket, getting an invite to that place. It was excellent. And I've never done flooded timber before. And it was crazy. The first day we were in a rice field, and I think we shot almost every species of puddle duck. I mean, we had blue winged teal, green winged teal, gadwall, mallard, pintail. We didn't have a cinnamon, um, shovelers. It was like almost every duck you can name. We just had a mixed bag, and then the next morning we were in the flooded timber, and I mean, it was shooting hours, and I think we sat there for 35 minutes just watching ducks crash through the trees, not even, just watching the show. So,
There is something like, and I tell people this, they're like, "Oh, why do you want to go down there?" And I'm like, "Dude, it's just something about standing in those trees.
hmm
You get in around those old trees, and just like even when you have one or two ducks do it, there's just something about that it's just different.
yep,
It's I don't know how to explain it, and I haven't ever figured it out. It's still like a guy watching a big buck, just work right down a trail right to him. I mean, it's just something that's
hmm
it's not really explainable, but it's something that like I think is maybe one of the it maybe might be one of the top things. Outside of that, maybe a trip to Washington shooting like a into like a big ball of widgeon that just do it right in front of you on like some sheet water or something. Like I feel like those two are like two things you just can't explain anywhere else.
yep,
Um,
yep, absolutely. And then I ended the year with a couple different hunts down in Uvalde, Texas, with Luke Bledsoe, 501 Ranch. Spec Ops is the name of Luke's company.
oh, okay, okay.
And yeah, Luke does a great job. And like we just shot the specs up the first morning. The next day we were on a kind of a puddle duck hunt, did real well on it. And then last day of the season for specs, he called me the day before, 2 days before, and said, we got this roost pond that's loaded. We're going to wait for them to leave and then shoot them as they start trickling back in. And we had a pretty good crew and good shoot, and it made for a good day. And then we were in and out of there with limits before really the big groups of specs started coming in there. So we're at our trucks getting a show with 2,000 specs trying to land back in there.
That's a bird that is a goal for this December is to shoot a speck for me.
hmm
I'm gonna try to get like a daily so I'm in Arkansas and shoot a speck. I want to eat one. They say they're delicious. Um,
Yep.
that's I think that's about the only bird that and crane are two birds I've never tried. I think I've had everything else.
Yeah,
Um,
cranes are excellent.
yeah, the two good tasting birds I haven't got to eat yet.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like that like we get a few specs. When I say a few specs, we get like 10 to 15 that'll be in our area, and that's about it. And you kind of have the same guys like kind of annoy them enough that like they won't even go near a spread.
hmm
Um, now the coolest
Yeah,
thing,
we never had specs where I hunt Missouri, and now we have a ton of them the last 3 or 4 years. So it seems like I see shifts of different birds. I don't know if they're moving one way or another, if it's drought or
Yeah,
weather conditions, but we now get a lot of specks. We used to only have like one, maybe two swans sitting on the refuge. And then all of a sudden, a couple years later, there was like a handful, then there was like 20, and now we probably got, I don't know, 2,000, 4,000. They're just everywhere. So we get some pretty cool encounters with swans flying right over us while we're duck hunting. You just got to make sure somebody in your party doesn't think it's a great big snow goose and
they're massive.
get you in trouble.
They're
Yeah.
they're a massive bird. I have seen
Hmm.
one, and we thought it was like a snow because it decoyed into our decoys at first, but it was like in the sunlight, and like we're like that thing looks massive. Like this is like a pterodactyl coming. I've been way closer to. We were hunting one day on like a little flooded spot, and we had some cranes around, and we knew they were around, and that's another rare bird we don't really get much of. I think the one year we had like 75 hanging out in our area. I think it was like the total. I think we had one group of I counted a group of 35 in one field, and then I think we pieced all together. There's about 75, and this I'm goose calling, and these birds just like kind of like we kind of see them. They kind of get low on the deck, and like they're at a distance. I'm like, man, are these geese about to just come dump right here in front of us? And as they get closer and closer, I'm like, what is this thing? And then we all raise up out of our blinds staring at them, and they finally they turned at like 20 yards and just went right past us, and I was like, oh, those could have easily been shot if we
Hmm.
if we but we don't have a limit on them. I don't know why. We should just be able to get to shoot them. We're probably not ever going to see them again. I mean, apparently they're like all over Florida. So
Yeah. Yeah, they're talking about three bird limit on pintails in certain areas that I just saw
yeah,
a couple days
California,
ago.
those guys are like going crazy about it, and I'd love to
Yeah.
shoot one pintail.
Yeah.
We get some, but what we get that no one else gets that some people care about are the black ducks. I mean,
Sure.
we get stupid amount of black ducks. I mean, they're just out here. Like, I mean, I don't know what it is. If people want to shoot black ducks, you need to go get on the high river because you're bound to get into them. I think we had one hunt last year. We shot that. What's all we shot were 5 black ducks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we shot 5 black ducks, and we missed a blue wing teal that was hanging out with them, hanging out with one of them. I mean, that's you get on hunts, and that's like where that's all we see is black ducks. It's real weird. Like we'll see some mallards, but then we'll just see a ton more black ducks, and they just seem like they're dumb when you see them too at times, dumber than the mallards at least. Um,
Yeah, when we were on that spec hunt with spec ops with Luke, duck season was closed, but the specs were still open. Duck season had closed 2 or 3 days before that, and we had a pair of cinnamon teal come in and almost land, and
oh
everybody was like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" And then we did have a pair of canvasbacks, Drake and a hen that came in, sat down our decoys, and we got to watch them while we swam around. But that'd have been two pretty good ducks. They were both pretty birds. Would have been
yeah,
wall hangers.
I've never got to see a cinnamon, but I've never been far enough west either to see one.
That's the only one I've ever seen, and I had to watch it fly by.
Rumor has it that there was one or two. I haven't went and checked because they're probably still going to be in the area. Some people know where I'm talking about if they look at this, but they were hanging out on a refuge area with some blue wings. I don't know if they still are or not, but supposedly someone's seen one or two. But I was like, are you sure they're not just like wood ducks or like a hen? Because I mean, for cinnamon teal to be out here, they'd be real lost, real
Yeah.
lost for some reason. I mean, we've shot a golden eye before. I forget which one it was. It was one that was real lost that was out here that my buddy shot. But yeah, I mean, we get a few of those exotic things, but not very many. They're few and far between, really. We do get some canvasbacks, and some of those will come down the Ohio eventually, off the Great Lakes. But
Yeah, they're big water ducks for sure.
yeah. Um. So what's next for like Dirty Duck? So I know like something that I've seen some coffee. I don't even know what brands they are. I had one the other day, was a bourbon infused coffee. Has that been something you guys have thought about or looked at doing or considered?
Yeah, we actually have a whiskey flavor that we do, kind of a private release bag that's not on our website, but we have a local distillery in that town where I hunt, our farm, and they serve a whiskey flavored coffee. But it's more like the sweet notes. It's not what you'd imagine. We've tried soaking beans in a whiskey or aging them in a whiskey barrel, and it was just a little bit overpowering. So, um, going with a true bourbon whiskey, we haven't had a um, great run at it yet. But you know, our two best sellers are flavored coffee. So, it may be something we look into doing a couple more flavors just to give people variety.
Yeah, I mean, well, I know the Morning Wood's not exactly a flavored, but I do think it does have kind of. I think it has like notes of chocolate in it, and I would agree that it does have that. Um,
Yep.
it's probably. I mean, it's probably my favorite as far as like going duck hunting. It's that one. That's my
Hmm.
favorite one to brew to go like on a duck hunt.
Yeah, it's kind of a strong medium, but it's super smooth, and
Yeah,
so it's easy to drink, but still gives you the pep in your step you're looking for.
yeah. Well, tonight I'm drinking. I'm just drinking bourbon because I ran out of 43 because I became addicted to the. I forget the name of the Mexican drink.
Oh, the liqueur 43.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that the Catahoula, I think it's called?
I don't know what it's called. I don't know. I've
Yeah,
tried to order it at a Mexican restaurant, and guess what? They don't have it. So
yeah, yeah. Jay was down in Cancun or something for a work trip, and they were serving those, and he's gotten hooked on them. So yeah, it's liqueur 43 with some, I guess, hot coffee,
you can do hot or cold.
or iced coffee.
Yeah, I've done both actually. I've done both are pretty
Done
good.
both.
It kind of adds like if you're a mocha flavor and you want to add like a little mocha sweetener, the 43
Hmm.
actually gives a little mocha flavor. I think it sweetens it up. I mean, I drink my coffee straight black all the time, whether it's cold or hot. But the only time
Yep.
like I ever have really any sweetness to it is when I add that 43, and it's
Yeah, I need to give it a shot. I haven't. I'm not sure I've tried it yet,
oh
but
you got to try it.
everybody raves about it.
Yeah, I know. Andy Schaefer was the one who like I seen him talking about doing it with the cold brew, and I was like, well, I'm gonna give it a try.
Hmm.
It's pretty dang good. It's definitely something I would recommend. Um, some point in time.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. So we've kind of talked about that. I assume you guys. What's your like big? What's your next big event you have coming up? Are you doing like any of the big events that people can catch you at? I know there's like Shin Fest eventually. Delta's coming up. I don't know when it is. It's in the fall, I think, of some sort. No, late July.
Uh, July, late July.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we'll be at Squad Fest there in St. Louis. I think it's the third weekend of July, and then the very next weekend is the Delta show down in Louisiana. Um, I think we have a team going to it's in Alabama. I think it's the Buck Classic or
Yeah. 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 Cra-
yeah. So we'll have a small booth at that one, just kind of testing the waters. Um,
Because you guys got to take it. I mean, not because like I want to pitch the idea for you guys to come to the Great American Outdoor Show. Just because
mhm.
if I go spend 2 or 3 days there, I'll have coffee to drink. That's why I'm pitching the
Yep.
idea. It's not really beneficial. I don't know if it'd be beneficial to you guys or not to be there.
I
Um,
think it. So we put it off because we're kind of scared of it.
I mean,
Um,
it's a long
but
time.
it's 11 days or 9 days.
I think
Forget how many.
11 with the setup for a vendor. So it's
Okay,
like
so
it's like
11 days long to work the show is
it's a
it's a grind, and then to work a 3 day show, we kind of know the formula and how much stock to bring usually. I don't know how we'd um, plan to to make sure we didn't run out of stuff. But apparently, all the vendors run out of
Oh
stuff
yeah,
there, and you're able to order and get it sent. So that seems like a
everyone.
common occurrence that they sell so much stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, that would definitely be a huge one to tackle, and I think we do really well at it.
I mean, I think you would. I mean, there's a ton of. I mean, that place is ginormous. I mean, I did not see all of it, and I worked a booth one day there the other year, and like I didn't see remotely any of it. We were there with a call vendor, hanging out in their booth, and it was crazy. I mean, just like, and not everyone come to the room we were in because the waterfowl room's kind of off to the side. But if you got like main drag, I mean, it's just insane the amount of people that. I mean, a lot of people don't even make it to the back of the place where all the guides are because this. I mean, the guide room is like the size of like the room you guys are in for NWTF. That's just
Hmm.
guides. That's just strictly guides in that size of a room.
Oh
And
wow.
oh, it is. I mean, it's ginormous. Probably every room's about that size, other than the waterfowl room. The waterfowl room's probably the smallest one, but I mean, they're packed in tight though. And I think all the waterfowl guys do good. I mean, I think every call company sells. You know, I think like last I heard, like they all average about 160 calls. That's what they end up selling. Like most time they run out, and that's why they quit selling calls. Is because they're out of calls. I mean, to come there with 300 and some calls hand turn would be insane. Um,
Yep. Yeah, that's what I heard. It's pretty common for whatever the product is. They keep one for display, and then they basically take orders that hey, when I get home, we'll mail it to you, type of deal.
well, I
On the
mean,
smaller items.
that's what Dive Bomb does. Dive Bomb, like I've
Hmm.
not been to a show yet that Dive Bomb actually sells like really a product at it. They just do
Yep.
all. I think they do free shipping, and you just order it online. But I mean, it's definitely a very interesting strategy to say the least. Is to just do all your orders online and not actually physically sell an item there. Because I know, like when I buy something half time, I want it in my hands right then and there. Like I
Yep.
mean, I want it. I'm a very impatient person. So like
Hmm.
I don't ever wait for a lot of stuff to happen. I usually like if I'm like trying to wait on something to happen to make something else happen, I usually just go ahead and make the one thing happen so the other thing will happen. Kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of the rewarding part about when we do a show is you're sending bags of coffee and hats and tumblers with the people, and they're walking around with it. I've done some trade shows with some more higher ticket items, and you're just sitting there repeating yourself the entire time, and you're hoping you can make the sale down the road at some point. And it's just I'd rather be smaller items. At the end of the day, you can say how much we sell today. Oh, that was a pretty good day, and so it seems a little bit more instant gratification
Yeah, for
than
sure.
trying to farm sales 6 months down the road.
Which I mean, you guys do. I mean, for the most part, you
Hmm.
guys have a couple different features on your website. We'll talk about those. Is you have the subscription base for your coffee, which I've done in the past, canceled because I was the only one drinking coffee and there wasn't enough getting drank. Now, I mean, I think I bought like 150 $200 worth of coffee and stuff at NWTF, and I'm looking at two bags beside me, another bag over there, and I think we have two cold brews and another morning wood that's not open, and I think we're out. Just from then, I think we go through like a bag every 2 weeks, probably here anymore, just on cold brew.
Hmm.
But yeah, like that feature is awesome. So you can set up the subscription base. I think it's what every month or every 2 weeks or every other month. I might
Yeah,
mess that
you
up.
can set it up as often every week, every other week, once a month. It kind of gives you the option to customize it, and it's real easy to go in, log into your profile, and if you want to pause it or switch flavors or basically alter it in any way, cancel it. It's real easy to do.
See, that's been
But
upgraded since I did it. Like when I did it, it was like a long, which I probably did like when you first released that idea,
hmm.
the subscription base, and it was like I liked it. Just didn't drink enough of it, and now I'm just to the point now where I just like, screw it, I'll buy $150 worth of coffee at a time. I guess it's the route I go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it's subscription program is, you know, checking it once a week, and the numbers just keep on climbing up there. So
Well, I
long
mean,
way to go, but we're moving in the right direction.
like even for like my company is like a small business. Like we could calculate how much K cups we use. I mean, that's how our coffee comes. This is subscription based. I assume it's just a repeat order. It's just set in
Hmm.
the system and automatically orders. I mean, that's basically what you're doing for any small company or any individual or anyone who owns a personal business or anything like that. I mean, that'd be perfect what y'all have with that system.
Yep, absolutely. And another thing we do is work with outfitters. We love to work with outfitters that are, lodging people, serving coffee. Um, we've seen a huge, when they're serving Dirty Duck coffee every morning, there might be, hunters in there that never heard of us, never tried it, and it seems like they're trying to buy bags to take home with them, or they're getting online ordering stuff from us once they've had it. Um, so we that's something else that we're doing is providing lodges with wholesale pricing, and then also if they have a pro shop, they can sell coffee or hats if they want to. Sometimes it's a nice touch to the place for the experience.
Yeah, that I mean that honestly, I could see that being a very kind of a big market, really, because I know you guys are now moving into the grocery stores. I think in the east. Am I correct in saying that? I don't want to say something that's not true.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a long process, but here in the next couple of weeks, our first order will go out to Food Line grocery stores. We're going to be in um, the first run is going to be 38 grocery stores,
Okay.
and I'm not sure the addresses yet, but once we get those, I can, we'll advertise them that way. If there's anybody local, they can
I
go.
think I think it'll pick up quick. I mean, we've seen the other coffee brands come out and they became very popular and stuff. I mean, anymore. I mean, the younger generation, we don't drink the Maxwell and the I don't even know what the other brands of coffees are. Like those brands are gone. I mean they're pretty much gone for the most part. There are probably still companies buying those at wholesale and stuff, but like I think it's more coming down to the more flavored and more specialized coffees like you guys and the other brands out there. And that's what I know a lot of people I know that drink. I know a lot of people that have some of the other brands in their offices and stuff, and that's what they get.
Hmm.
And I think you guys are going to share that market with them. It's going to be pretty interesting to watch it happen over the next. It's probably been a slow process, but it's probably going to grow here.
Yeah, it's been nice that we've been able to grow at our own pace and not feel. Jay and I both have real businesses that are paying the bills, I guess you'd say. So this is something that we can grow at our own pace. We're not dependent on a paycheck to feed our family off of it. So that's been pretty beneficial that we're not having to, go take out massive bank loans to try to put, infrastructure into place and then hope we can sell enough to, make ends meet. So we're at the point now, this is our fourth year. Um, yeah, our fourth full year. I kind of count 2020 as sort of a half year by the time we got some stuff developed and coffee in hand. But we're we're at the point now where we're just ready to throw some gasoline on the fire. Like we can handle whatever volume might get thrown at us. We've learned a lot. We've worked out a lot of growing pains along the way, and so we're just you know never developed a brand before, so we're trying to like learn one day at a time. Okay, what can we do next? What works? What doesn't work? And so it's all part of the growing process. I'm sure if there's somebody out there that has grown, you know, several dozen brands or hundreds of brands, I could probably line out a playbook and say, "Oh yeah, I've done this a hundred times." But we're learning as we go.
I feel like there's probably a formula to an extent that would make like help it grow. But like you said, like you're growing it, like the company is kind of growing itself. Like you all didn't take out the massive loans and stuff, and
Hmm.
I think that's what's very cool about it. It's kind of how I treat kind of all my side little things that are businesses that lose money half the time. yours doesn't lose money though. Yours does the right thing and makes money. But like you let it grow
But then we
itself.
spend it all on duck hunting. So it's
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Yeah,
you know.
true. I mean, like, if I gave someone like some of the work schedules I've done on like extracurricular like work, like whether it be photography, videography, working rodeos, they'd be like, "Why have you put in all this effort?" And I was like, "Ah, so I could buy like another camera or buy this control board or this monitor or this thing or pay for like this duck hunting trip or something." I mean, that's basically it. Because I'm like you. I mean, I don't want to take my real job away from my real job money away from my family because I feel like I'm cheating my family at that extent when I do that.
Hmm.
I mean, it just seems like not that my wife doesn't support me and my two little kids don't support me probably, but it just feels like you're taking away money that you made for the family, not for this little thing over here. And I think that's really cool that know that you guys have kind of grown it at its own pace, but I think it will. I think it will come to terms where it's going to be a pretty fast paced growth. I mean, do you see yourself ever being only Dirty Duck, like retiring early and moving to that only? Is that kind of a goal we have, or is that kind of
That'd be a dream come true, honestly.
just kind of
Um,
waiting to see if it comes true at this point? I guess.
yeah, it's just all about making it happen. It's
Yeah,
like, all right, what extra steps can we do? How do we get our message out? How do we advertise? How do we, you know, what shows do we need to go to? Um, you know, but that's why I love the trade shows because I feel like it's grassroots advertising. I don't know how many times I've heard people say, oh, I've never heard of you guys. And then they're walking off with bags of coffee and reordering. So it's a way for us to, if we can get in front of crowds, get in front of people, let people, touch, taste it, smell it, then typically we're winning over a new customer. So that's been really great for us.
yeah. I think that is. I think that'll be huge. I mean, you guys do it. I mean, you do the sample cups there that I'm pretty sure get abused pretty bad.
Hmm.
And then you have the mugs where people can buy a mug, and then if they're there for more than one day, they can keep refilling it. You got your merchandise, you got your K cups, and you got your bags of coffee there. And I mean,
Right.
y'all's booth. I don't think I didn't ever go by your booth. I didn't have to kind of like push my way over to it to be able to talk to Ronnie when I come by to see him or get coffee because we would just swing through and like we would make sure our route was out past your booth. And we'd swing by real quick and like get us some coffee on the way out of the place when we go back up to the room for a little while.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, it's a great show. So.
yeah, and you guys, I mean, you guys are doing the advertising work. I mean, you're with one of the biggest podcasts out there, and I
Hmm.
mean, those guys are killing it. I mean, I think they're probably making a lot of people's days with that have decided to join them early when a lot of people probably shot away from those guys and Andy and Jeff, and I don't know why you would, because I mean they're the most honest people out there when it comes down to the business, which is what
Yeah.
you guys are talking to you and talking to. I mean, like I've said before, because we're gonna start wrapping this up here, so you can enjoy your evening the rest of the way out there. Um, but I mean, you guys didn't have to do this podcast. I mean, this is a very small podcast versus other podcasts you can be with and stuff. So thank you again for that. I mean, you guys are taking the time to meet the little guys and talk to everyone, and I think that's the attitude y'all bring to the shows, and it makes it more appealing to everyone because the group of people in the industry are so much smaller than what you really think they are when it comes
Hmm.
down to it.
And that's what I tell people, the unexpected blessing out of this whole accidentally starting a coffee company, I guess you'd call it, would be all the people I've met in all the different parts of the country, and even just talking online. Like if there's been somebody that had a issue with an order, we jump on either the phone or email, and everybody's just so great. Um, it, you know, if it would all end tomorrow, all the friendships and relationships that I've made just in the short time we've been doing it has been worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree, man. Well, I'll let you hop off here and enjoy the rest of your evening. But as you go here, why don't don't you let everybody know where you guys can be found on social medias and your website stuff real quick?
Yeah, website dirtyduckcoffee.com, and then Dirty Duck Coffee on IG and Facebook. I think we have a Twitter account and a TikToker account. So you can find us on there too if you just search Dirty Duck Coffee.
Yeah, man. Thank you again for doing this, and hope you have a good evening and enjoy your time down there in Texas.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank
Talk to
you.
you soon.
You too. Oh, well, wrong one. Wrong one. Wrong one. Oh my gosh. There we go. I have struggled tonight. I'm not gonna lie. This has been a struggle. I think it's a little rusty. The new board over here. I screwed with the trying to fix the FaceTime. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know. It wants to act right now. I don't know. It's aggravating me. Aggravating me a bunch. But as always, thank you again for coming on the podcast. Don't forget to follow along. Go show Dirty Duck and them some love. Man, they got some awesome apparel coming out. That hat he had on. He's got some other really sharp hats coming out. Some solids with some leather patches on them. Definitely gonna be getting one of those. They got some nice hoodies too. Also, their coffee, man, you can't beat it. Right here again, you got the Missouri Boat Ride and the Cinnamon Till. Ooh, focus on that's a little off. Which way does it need to go? Need to go forward? Yeah. Those two brands right there are my favorite. Make sure you check them out and check them out online. And we will catch you on the next one.